Master, welcome. We've been talking about creating buoyancy by using the breath and some subtle adjustment in the structure, so we could create that extra energetic lift inside the body. And for the past tutorials, we've been talking about how to apply the principle predominantly, mostly in asanas, jumping, versions, weight-bearing positions, so we can keep ourselves light and supported at the same time, create that or achieve that floating sensation. We've also talked about how to apply this principle given differences in our structure. So if you're more open in the front, definitely this is your strength. You will be able to lift easily that buoyancy or the breath up here. So if you're more open in the backs, definitely you'll be sending that breath up, higher up the shoulders. But the most beautiful application of this principle is when we make the manifestations and the action subtle, when we regulate the breath. Alright, of all the breathing regulation methods out there, this one really, which is simple yet very powerful and potent. It's the seed method, if you can ask me, because all the big meditation techniques later on all start from this. It's called the Nadi Shodhana, called the alternate nostril breathing. I posted a few tutorials about this element as well, so you might want to take a look at them so you can learn them individually from the technical aspects and some energetic aspects of the practice as well. But for today, we will be applying the principle of creating that buoyancy in the Nadi Shodhana. Alright. At this stage of the practice, definitely when you're able to allow the buoyancy to manifest strongly by utilization of the bandhas and of course the building of the foundation, the strength or the muscularity of the process. This is now the stage where the bandhas are very efficient and strong, managing the flow of energy predominantly to serve many levels of purpose. The two bottom bandhas, the Mula bandha and the Uddiyana bandha, they're very physical actually. So one of the roles, one of the most important roles, is to actually direct the energy that we cultivate or develop through practice or produce ourselves inside the hips towards the center line, the central channel. So from here, everything lingering down the lower spine as you breathe the energy up. So the two bottom bandhas will harness and direct the energy here, and together with the sucking up action of your inhalation, you allow and direct the breath to flow higher up. This the apanavali, or the energy we self-produce or we practice, or the Kundalini energy itself. Now, since we are inspiring, we are inhaling, definitely the energy from the outside, the pranavayu, will enter the body. Alright? And then that throwing in action of the breath is predominantly ruled or governed by this part of our energy law, or the Jalandhara bandha. Because the Jalandhara bandha now, don't worry about the process of inhale and exhale. So because the breath will just come in, definitely. So set that aside. So we talk about, what we're talking about here is the sensation, right? The experience when we breathe, right? So going back. So since we inspire the air in, right? So predominantly the pathway of the breath before it enters the body is right here. Alright. The Jalandhara bandha, although could be utilized as well in movements or asanas, it's most meaningful when you use that knot or that energetic, I would say, lock or pathway to make room for the energy to rise or to enter, because it's the pathway. And of course, at the same time, later on, and blocking or closing the pathway. Yeah, so you can confine the energy inside. Alright. Now, since the two bottom bandhas, they are more efficient throwing upwards. Yeah, this, as you inhale, and then the Jalandhara bandha now, yeah, will make room for the breath from the grace outside to enter the body. And these two opposing action of your two bottom bandhas throwing inwards and upwards, and then this, yeah, from the outside in and then down. Alright, so what happens now, you allow your own energy to rise, and then the energy from the outside to enter the body. And then the Jalandhara bandha now will confine, yeah, that grace from the outside to remain inside the body, so it doesn't escape. At the same time, the two bottom bandhas will, yeah, keep the energy higher up here, yeah, so your own energy will not collapse and then drop back down to the hips. And this is the principle of the mystic union. So the uniting the opposing, not really opposing, but two different yet complementary energy, I would say, forces. You have the Apana Vayu, the Prana Vayu blending here. And there's a space between the two big ribs where you can actually allow them to mix. Literally, it's a sensation. The sensation is soothing, calming, and very comforting. But you can actually direct the energy really higher up, even inside the brain, when you do your still meditation. Meditation and stillness wrong, because when you just hold it like that and the body is not doing anything, you just utilize the bandhas inside, to direct your own energy up. And as you inhale, you allow the energy to come inside, and with the throwing up action, you lift the energy to enter the nervous system inside. But that will have to be tackled later on, but will not happen unless you feel the dominant action of the energy. Because you cannot just jump straight to the subtleness of it without actually feeling the dominant action, the powerful presence. So it's really a progressive practice. So from something which is very active, and we've been applying that in our lesson, to something which is more flowing here. And then slowly, bit by bit, just transform to a much finer and, I would say, sensitive and very thin. Yeah, really, the sensation is thin. You may call it absolute sensation, and that energy is allowed to enter the nervous system. So in the Nadi Shodhana, this one, it's a good way for us to actually work on refining that sensation already. Now, we've talked about how we can lift the breath up here, right? Good. And you do that by allowing a little bit of the adjustment right here, if you're more open here in the back. Now, you will be able to combine both sides now. So, not only that you can lift the breath here, but also you can send the breath all around the body as well, and actually the whole of your aura, later on. So as you do the retention, or as you do the technique, of course, you are blocking the nostril, and then this will even assist you in refining the energy as you draw it out. So as you inhale one side, now if you do this right now, you can actually feel it, that you won't be able to breathe as big as when you are preparing, for example, for a jump. Right now, you're not getting the flow of our lesson, and because when you clear one throat, for example, here, definitely you can't be very busy breathing like big chunks. As opposed to, for example, you're jumping, you have to really breathe deep, because you will be needing more extra energy, right? Whereas if you just do your breath regulation, you want it so refined and then so subtle. Now the buoyancy or the lift would actually be felt really very light and subtle. So you can actually feel now the breath rises up here. and all the way up to the upper chest. All right, now, how can we make the manifestation even more, I would say, meaningful and felt? Felt in a way that it's not too competitive. It's subtle, it's calming, but it's very deep, very, very meaningful as well. All right. The Jalandhara Bandha, since this is the pathway or the gateway of the pranavayu into the body, when you do your alternate nostril breathing, you just don't want to keep this like locked in. Right, although the book says yes, clip your throat in. Right. For me, it really doesn't matter. Actually, it really doesn't matter. You can keep this open, you can keep it neutral, you can keep it closed. Especially when your bandhas become very efficient, you can actually access the bandhas even if you're just lying flat. Right. But for learning purposes, I will be sharing with you a technique. And this, learn it how. Because all of the realizations actually start as sensations, right? And when you're able to feel it, your mind remembers. And then when your mind remembers, the following practice, you will be able to do it because you remember the sensation. So really, that's heightened awareness. The nervous system remembers something new, and then when you practice it the following day, it will grow bigger. It will grow, I would say, deeper, and the manifestations will grow more profound. And then you will feel another new sensation again, and your mind remembers. It's really like that. So as you develop the skill, your nervous system remembers, and then you practice it, and then you just grow it from there. So that's that is really the philosophy of the seed energy. Right? So from small, it grows big, and then from that big, another small but different manifestation or realization will happen, and then you grow from that again. So it's never ending. So as you grow bigger, as your awareness becomes bigger, thus there will be more realizations, smaller realizations sprouting from that big one, and then you grow your succeeding practice from that seed. So it's like that. So it's never ending. All right, you will never be able to crack through the really I would say the end, because actually the end, maybe the end is when you actually pass, but at least we access the higher functions of the energy. Just the higher functions. It can serve us in many levels and ways, not just the physical, not just the health and wellness, but also of your heart, of your mind, and the whole of your existence actually, which will go beyond the body, understanding the person next to you, and the whole community as well. For me, that is really the goal of the process. All the breathing works, all the asanas, or the building structural strength and power, they are just all preparation. So when we learn how to harness and produce our own energy, we use that to make the body even stronger, more, I would say, resilient. And then from there, you develop the breath, which will allow you to experience more realms inside the body, which the physicality of it can access and develop. And then progressively, the mind is developed, and you will be able to refine or transform that manifestation into something more subtle. And then it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Until you're able to catch the really fine manifestation of your energy, and then there you grow your seed again, and then it will grow another dimension. It's really never-ending process. It's circle, mandala, and it's never-ending, it's never-ending. Now, when you practice now the breath regulation, the Nadi, Shodhana, and applying the principle of creating buoyancy, since this is the pathway of the pranavayu, make room for the energy to enter the body by lightly opening this up. Actually, the whole of the spine needs to open. Why? Because you just don't want to be closing. You just don't want to be hugging all the time. Because if you want to, for example, you're too busy squeezing, tightening, clenching, the energy will not enter because you're closed. So try to open a bit. Yeah? So in application, for example, you're doing your Nadi Shodhana now. Alright, so thumb blocks the nostril and then inspire. Before you inspire, open a bit. Now as you inspire, you gently allow, definitely as you inspire, your two bottom bandhas will draw your own energy up. And then slowly you're going to close this one, because this is the gate, or the hole of the door, the mouth of the energy coming inside the body. And as you inspire, definitely you will be filled with that energy, and you don't want that energy to exit the body. So gently you're going to close it using the throat, and you're going to close your own energy by using the two bottom bandhas, and then they meet here, and then you can even rise it up, not only to the fronts but also to the back. Thus, alright, there's it. So when you inhale, allow this to open first, the fronts, and as you close, as you slowly allow the air to fill the upper part of the chest, as you narrow the pathway in the front, the backs go wide. And so it's from the front to the back. So that's where the buoyancy goes higher, not only in the fronts, not only in the backs, but around the whole of your body. Inhale. When you feel this part of your lungs filled with breath already, send the breath to the back, together with your two bottom bandhas, confining the energy up, and the throat at the top of it. The throat lock gently closes the gate, and before it gets heavy, release, open a bit, and then inhale. Feel this one rise, and then to end, feel the backs of the body open wide. So as you inspire, as the energy from the outside enters the body, and as you draw your energy up, that's the action. And then you're going to close the two bottom locks, and then the upper locks, and then the upper lock now will make room for the energy to go here first, and then when this one gets filled, because you're drawing up, the rest of the energy goes to the backs of your body, high up the shoulders, and then that will give that lightness, that buoyancy, like everything spins high. Exhale, inhale. So you just don't want to be closing it. So as you inhale, you gently close, and then at the top of the inhalation, they close like this, like they clip, but you don't squeeze. And actually the sensation is really hanging, like the Jalandhara Bandha, suspends and hang, like you're holding something delicate. You don't want it to suddenly open, otherwise the energy collapses down and the energy exits. So as you inhale, you gently close the pathways, and exhale, lightly open. Inhale, exhale. Alright, so the first stage of the inhalation, predominantly it goes here, and the second phase goes to the back. That's why it goes like that. So there's an energetic significance. While there are like external manifestation of the throat locking in, but it's not just folding. There's a hook coming from here, and then when this one gets filled, definitely some of it would have to go to the backs. So here, then the rest of it, and then really towards the latter stages, you can actually lift that here, and to form that overall aura of the person. So when you breathe, for example, and you meditate, you can actually feel the energy rise up here, in sides, because you're not blocking anymore, so you can feel it go through both sides and through the central canal. And you can actually feel the energy, feel like the aura of your head inside, nervous system inside, the brain inside. It's filled with subtle energy. And it's a healing force. It's really the healing force. Not only that it will serve you physically, but also will allow your mind to clear out. Alright? Now, this is the practical application of breath regulation, if you're going to ask me. And when the readiness is there, when the bandhas are efficient, collecting and directing the energy, the meditation process is a beautiful and safe method, because you know how to get in and out of the experience. You just don't confine it, and then now what happens? How do you drain? Let it go. Because you know, you're confident, that you can collect that energy again. So you are open and willing to let it go and drain. Yes, off the mat, it's the same. If the calling is there, then finally you decide to share all the learnings, your practical learning, your self-learning to the community as a whole. This will translate to beautiful lessons, more understanding, tolerance, and really understanding of not just the practice itself, but the nature of different people around us, students, teachers alike. Because we did with the process. And that's the most meaningful path to take. Good. So with that one, I added more insights to your library of learnings. Keep the practice going. I'll see you next round. Namaste.